Today we're interviewing the legend, the singer-songwriter, musician, author, Judy Collins. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be with you.
So we love having you here in Easton. What keeps bringing you back to the Avalon?
Well, I love that theater and I love your audiences. It's very impressive to go back and have people still be appreciative of what I'm doing. And they have a lot of faith, a lot of continuity. They've kind of hung on with all the different changes that I've gone through. And so it means a lot to me to have that kind of an audience preservation out there. The Avalon in Easton. It's
So
wonderful.
since you've turned 80, you seem to be on a whole new creative streak. Your first album, number one album with Winter Stories, and this year, Spellbound. Where's this drive coming from?
I think there's an inborn conviction in those of us, whether you're a painter or a singer or a writer. I got to make a few albums that were very important to me. One of them was my Irish album, which I recorded in the Dromoland Castle in County Clare in 2013. And it was a long time coming because I had always promised myself that I was going to get to Ireland and make an album. At 15, I turned on the radio one day instead of practicing the piano, and I heard a song. It was a song from a movie called The Black Knight, which was an Alan Ladd movie, and it had this version by a guy from Dublin. The gypsy rover came over the hill, down through the valley so shady. And I heard that song and it changed my life. And that was it. I called my teacher, Dr. Brico, and I said, I'm not going to be playing any Rachmaninoff anymore. It's going to be versions of Jimmy Crack Corn and I Don't Care, of folk music. And she was not very happy about that. And she would come to my concerts, take my hands in hers, and she'd say to me, "Oh, little Judy, you really could have gone places." After I recorded Sending the Clowns, I got very interested in all the other songs, and I chose not from 9 to 11 songs that were my favorites, and I wanted to get them done. Went to Colorado and recorded them with an orchestra, and so that was fabulous. And then I did my first album of duets with guys, starting with a wonderful song by Ari Hest called Strangers Again, and that's the title of the album. That album. Then I did a duets album with Ari called Silver Skies Blue, and we co-wrote a lot of the songs on that album. I had a big affair with Stephen Stills when I was in my 20s, and we lasted just long enough for him to write a song about me. But we remained friends and still are friends to this day. And we decided that we would go out together on the road. What we did was to be on the stage for 2 hours straight together. We did 115 shows in a year and a half and had a ball on that tour and made a record called Everybody Knows. And then I did Winter Stories, and it's done a lot for me, that album. It went number one, and then I decided to make this album of songs that I've written. And so Spellbound sort of is kind of the frosting on the cake.
Where did these songs come from for Spellbound?
They're all new, and I started doing a lot of writing of poetry. I wrote 365 poems in the year of 2016. It has been a wonderful feeling to finally get an album of all my own songs all together.
So when you first started out in our lifetime, of course, there was the Vietnam War, the racism. Somehow your music seemed to have a basic optimism, I guess. Now there seems to be so much more cynicism and division. Can music come to our rescue?
I think music always changes people. It always gives them an uplifting feeling, and it doesn't matter how old the song is, how new it is, but if it's working, people get fed emotionally and spiritually by music. But I do know that the personal stories that people have that they write into their songs are what moves us. I think stories are what we're all about. And if we can tell each other stories about what we've survived, then it's important.
The audience next week at the Avalon is going to hear a little bit of the old and a lot of the new. And what are we in for?
I like to take that and be as open to the idea of what is this concert going to be like. You won't hear the same concert twice from, nobody ever does, but it's all live, of course, and we'll figure out what we're going to play. We always do a couple of the chestnuts, so to speak, the things that are more familiar and more, I think, comforting. I mean, I love to do things like Both Sides Now and Someday Soon and Amazing Grace, but then
Sending the pounds.
and Sending the Clowns, absolutely. And we then sort of filter in the other parts of my newest work. So there'll be a half a dozen songs, probably 5 or 6 songs from the new album. I don't like to throw new songs at an audience altogether. I think they deserve to have a little comfort in things that are familiar before you bring out the new stuff, so to speak, the new toys, the new experience, the new adventure. But I must say that these new songs from Spellbound are going very well, including Spellbound itself. People get very excited when I play that, as I did when I started writing it. I was very impressed and interested in the way it was working.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you next week then.
Thank you. I will be thrilled to be there. And thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you. It was a
Thanks.
real pleasure.
Okay, dear. Take care. I'll see you then.